Join us today as we dive into a great debate. What's our all-time favorite epic fantasy battle? I'll be sharing mine, Zach's going to share his. We challenge you to pick yours and put them down in the comments.
Hi there, welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where father and son sit down and talk about sci-fi, fantasy, all the things we love, especially books. I'm the son of that equation, Zach.
And I'm the father, Jim. Great to have you with us here today. Great to have my son with me today. We don't always get to do these things together. He's a very busy young man, but a little less busy now. You're done with school for the year, the
For the
summer.
moment, get a little bit of a break, figure out some other stuff, dotting some I's, crossing some T's, all those things. But currently, we're pretty early in the morning for us because
Oh,
of
yes.
your schedule, actually.
Yeah, I've got some busy weekends. It's hard for us to do our Saturday or Sunday recordings. It's like 6 a.m. out on the West Coast, and I'm here. But that's okay. I'm a morning person. I'm an evening person. I'm a whenever we're going person. But I am definitely drinking coffee today in our, custom Fantasy for the Ages mug, which is available on a link on the channel if you want one. But so fantasy battles, epic
Yes.
fantasy battles. That's what we're talking about today. There's so many good ones to pick from. For some structure here, everyone, Zach and I each have our own respective lists. We haven't talked about these. We're going to create basically a top 10 of just what we like. There's no no objective, well, it had this many deaths and this much epicness. No, it's just what do we like? And I'm curious to see if any of ours will overlap.
Especially because the way in which we like this might be from the epicness or might be for what it meant and how it connected and different things that mattered differently to us.
Right.
I did make a couple of clarifications to the rules for myself just to give myself an easier time picking things.
Sure.
One, it had to be an actual battle. I couldn't pick like a duel between two people and call that a battle.
I like that. That fits mine too.
Two, I also avoided one-sided things. So any massacres, like a Red Wedding kind of event, I left that off as well.
Yeah,
That
not
was
really
a battle
a
to me. The third
epic
caveat
scene, but
was that I was okay with involving sci-fi into the fantasy, so long as it slid into more of the space opera category.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't have anything like that on mine, but that's fine. It's whatever we want to do with it. We both have way more than 5 mentions, so we're going to go back and forth to get our 10, and then we'll just throw a bunch more out there that we won't say anything about. Just these are also ones we love, but they did make the highest. And then we will want to hear from you, seriously. Which ones of these are your favorites, and what did we miss? What are the ones you just, oh, this was so incredible, and how did you not talk about it, guys? Put them down in the comment box. Now, since we might accidentally steal ones from each other, we thought we'd roll today our old 20-sided dice to see who gets to go first. So let's do it, Zach.
You're going first.
17.
I rolled the same number on the other side of the spectrum. I rolled a 3.
Oh, yeah, that would be relatively. Gotcha. All right. So, number 1, my favorite, most epic battle of all time is the Battle of Pelennor Fields. Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. I mean, just that massive scale out there on the fields, the Nazgul terror, the Rohirrim's charge, Eowyn's moment, I am no man. All those things are part of an incredible battle scene, a real turning of the tide. And yeah, there's a lot to that.
I think that's very fair. And if we were talking the movie, I'd agree with you. But the way it's written just doesn't do it as much for me.
But I'm going to go with something. Thanks, you mentioned that. It's our thoughts of it now when we think about it. So this isn't just based on the books. It's how I feel about it from the movie too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
For my number 1 is a lot more recent and really had more to do with some of the personal story and connection that I feel like is told through it, as well as some epic moments. That's the Battle of Azamir in Wind and Truth. Kind of Adolin's POV throughout the book. That chunk of the story. The different battles you see, the improvised weaponry, the unoathed, all these cool, awesome moments that get peppered through and really just make, I think, very likely the best arc of the book.
Now, I agree with you on that, but wow, to be your number one epic fantasy
I
battle.
mean, it's
Wow.
something that the battle itself and where it was had me feeling things. And I
Okay.
also just enjoy the way in which Sanderson does write some action.
Okay. My number two, come on. The Last Battle from the
Was
Wheel of
also my
Time.
number two.
That final clash of light and shadow. And we've got Carrie, our longtime Patreon supporter, who's reading through The Last Battle basically right now. I mean, she's getting through all these things that are happening in the final book of the series. And it's so exciting to remember what she's experiencing as she's reading this stuff. So yeah, The Last Battle. It's so epic. I mean,
Mhm,
literally, this is a chapter that's bigger than the first book of the Harry Potter series.
mhm.
All the different conflicts and
The
timelines,
resolutions.
and even the metaphysical things that are going on at the same time. So, yeah, a lot to it.
Yeah, you won't get the argument from me. This was my number two as well.
So, you're bumping down your list
Uh,
to the
so
next one.
bumping down my list, this is where we get a little bit sci-fi with it. I'm bringing in the Battle of Ilium from Morningstar, the third book in the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown.
Okay.
The space battleness plus the epic internal fighting, the little bit of personal and poeticness, and then the long-reaching implications of what's done at the end and the morally ambiguous choices that have to get made is something that I just love, as well as there's a throwaway line at one point in it where Pierce Brown just sneaks in a pop culture reference, and I'm like, I can't believe you just did that. I love that you did that.
I think you talked to me about that back when he did it.
You certainly didn't get it.
No, I didn't. I had to research it. All right. Number three, The Battle of the Bastards
Mm,
from Game of Thrones. Now, this should be from a book in A Song of Ice and Fire, but it's not. This is from beyond what has actually
hmm
been written. So, this is purely from HBO's adaptation, Game of Thrones, with George R. R. Martin consulting. But what a scene they brought to the screen! Gritty, chaotic, and yet personal. Even on this huge
hmm
scope, there's the personal element between these two bastards. It's a modern visual spectacle, and yet so horrific in the actual battle that takes place. So, number three.
Speaking of bastards and gritty chaos, my number three is going to be the Battle in the High Places from The Last Argument of Kings, the
I
third book
thought
of the
about
First
that
Law
one.
trilogy.
Yeah.
The 7 day kind of final stand, the very Tolkien like last minute arrival of another force,
Hmm.
as well as the Bloody Nine getting in there and messing up some things, both for our heroes and our villains. Though, really, in that book, who gets to really be called a hero?
Nah, true. No, that's a good one. I did consider that. It didn't make my list, but should I? Shouldn't I? That definitely was in the running. Number four for me, I'm sticking with the same series. I want the Battle of Blackwater Bay from A
Mm,
Clash of Kings, A Song of Ice and Fire. This is the one happening at the Red Keep, involving naval warfare and then the wildfire explosions and Tyrion. Tyrion is perhaps my favorite character from A Song of Ice and Fire,
that's fair.
and this is a high moment for him. He really steps up. He doesn't want to have to, but he does, and he shines, even though it's a little rough for him too. But all around, there's reasons to be a bit in awe, and
Mhm.
also to be like, oh yeah, in the Battle of Blackwater Bay.
My number four, I'm going to bring the final Battle of Drasil from Wrath, the Faithful and the Fallen series, John Gwynne.
Okay.
This is a nice culmination. It's nice and epic. There are some great moments, including ants and dregs and an old wolf, and just a lot of big kind of final moments of story and payoffs from things you saw earlier on in the series. And it feels like the last battle light.
All right. I admit I thought about that one too. I did not include it. I don't know. The Faithful and the Fallen is a series that I definitely enjoyed, and yet I don't, in my recollections, hold it as high as some other things I've read.
It it gets a lot of points from me, both from a little bit of recency bias because I read it more recently than you have, and
Hmm.
also because I sent it on to a friend saying, "Hey, you're gonna love this," and he won't stop talking. He loves it. It is exactly what he was looking for.
Now, for any of you who don't know what he's talking about, recency bias, you could probably figure it out. But, if you've read something more recently, it may figure more prominently in your thoughts about it. That's going to pop up in our next episode for me, I think. We're talking about some authors we've discovered. I know it, but not so much this one for me. Which is true when I get to my number 5 now. One that I'm really kind of happy made it to number 5 because it's a different sort of battle. Its uniqueness is part of why it's here. It was also so hard on me, emotionally exhausted me reading through it. And it's one you haven't finished yet.
Is it
Chain of
Malazan?
Dogs from Dead House Gates, Book 2 of Malazan Book of the Fallen. It's an endless forced march and constant battle after battle after battle as the one force is trying to defend a whole bunch of innocents, helpless civilians, and get them across a freaking continent. So this battle takes months, but it's one after another after another. It's tragic, it's heroic, and the conclusion of it, it's unforgettable. And you haven't made it to the conclusion yet.
Not quite.
So that's definitely my number 5. It's a very memorable epic battle.
I was sitting here going, I know he's going to bring Malazan in somewhere. He's got to. I know it's epic enough. It's got battles. I'm almost surprised it only made it to your number 5.
Malazan is elsewhere on here in my honorable mentions now, or my extras that I
Yeah.
didn't need, but it's the one that makes the top 5.
So my last to make my top 5, making it because Last Battle got taken by you, is one that you have not read. This is the Battle of Brightwater from the Black Prism, Brent Week's Lightbringer series.
Right.
Kind of a climactic battle that's built to at the end of the first book. And it's the first time we really see some of the use of the magic system to its fullest, and some of our characters start to come into their own a little bit.
Mhm.
There's far-reaching applications of some of the things here, and just really cool initial displays of power and choices that characters have to make to set things in motion later on. So I thought it was a really cool way. I was looking and searching through the series, and I'm like, which battle did I actually like best? And I think it was that one.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I haven't made it to that. It's fairly high up the TBR, but it got pushed down a little bit because of other things I keep finding. I'll get there. Sometimes you're just excited about a new book you find or a new author, and they
Absolutely.
bump things down. All right, that's our top 10. Now, before we kind of read off the others that could have been on here, how do we feel about a number 1 overall? Again, I was Battle of Pelennor Fields, and you were,
The Battle of Azamir.
yeah.
I think we have to give The Last Battle number 1 overall because it was number 2 on both of our lists.
Ooh.
Like
Ooh.
it's the only one that we both were like, yes.
It's really high up there.
So I think it
Yeah.
is fair to say, even though it was neither of our individual number 1s, it is this channel still over 1, which means Wheel of Time, no surprise to anyone, is still king on this channel.
My son speaks with wisdom, because we would have been arguing over those other 2 number 1s for a while, I think. Our differences and opinions, but we can both agree the Last Battle is pretty darn epic. Yeah. All right, we won't worry about ranking the others. They're just all
Just
in a
some
top
honorable
10-ish list.
mentions, things that could have made it or maybe didn't quite fit the category, but would have if they did.
So let's toss out these other ones and go back and forth again without any long explanation. Just note them. And that way the people watching going, how did you not mention blah, 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 might hear the one they're looking for. My next one would have been the Siege of Minas Tirith from The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. So before the Battle of Pelennor Fields and that whole epic struggle. Sorry,
Notably, I was not including movie adaptations at the time, which is why for me it only made an honorable mention for the Battle of Helm's Deep. Also, Lord of the Rings, different battle, different book, but I like it better.
Oh no, Battle Helm's Deep is also on my list that I would have mentioned in a little bit. It's a great one. Another one for me is The Fall of the Wall from A Storm of Swords. The wall up in the north, when it falls, that desperate
My next honorable mention is one that doesn't quite fit the category, which is why I couldn't pick it. It's Nocta Himata from Shadow's Edge, the night when all of the kind of prostitutes throughout the city kill off a whole bunch of warriors and occupying soldiers. And in a sense, it's a battle and a taking of your own, but it's very like Rebel Forces guerrilla warfare in that, and a little bit more of a trickery massacre thing. So I'm like, it didn't quite fit, but it's very impactful.
And it really feels like Dirty Pool. That's not a time to take someone out.
I think in the context, it is super valid.
Another one I could have mentioned then was the Second Battle of Lathyrus from Reaper's Gale, Book 7 of Malazan Book of the Fallen. Unbelievable scope to this battle. And another one that goes on and on for ways.
My last honorable mention comes from the book Lightbringer from the Red Rising series, and it's Darrow's duel against Volsung Fa. Not a battle because it's only 2 people, in my opinion.
You said you weren't including
exactly.
those.
So it's an honorable mention in that I couldn't put it on the list, but it's one of my favorite descriptions and depictions of combat ever. It is just beautifully written, and it feels like I'm reading poetry when I'm reading a sword fight.
Okay. The other ones I could have mentioned was, this one's just a huge thing, the Rift War Invasion from the Rift War saga. I mean, 2 worlds through a dimension magically, and that's a big thing. You might like this one, the Betrayal on the Shattered Plains from the Way of Kings. Kaladin's moment, with his bridge crew. That one gets you. That's like,
this one almost made my list, but I told myself I was only going to include one per series in my top 5.
The Battle of Pale from Gardens of the Moon. So there's another, that's a third one from Malazan Book of the Fallen. And the Battle of the 5 Armies from The Hobbit. J.R.R. Tolkien coming in strong for me. Those were all ones that I could have said, as I'm just coming up with. My genuine honorable mention is here because it's not epic fantasy.
Okay.
And it's the Battle of Chicago from Battleground, the Dresden Files. The whole freaking book is a battle, basically.
Technically urban fantasy, but it has epic fantasy feel for that book. I'm with you.
Including the huge losses and the big wins. It's just the scale is massive.
Oh, yeah.
So that's us. That's what we've enjoyed. Now it's our viewers' turn. Let us know what you think of our battles that which ones do you really connect with? But what are the ones that we didn't put in? Yeah. We want to know. Again, in a spoiler light way, in case we haven't read the books, just point them out. Give the names of the battles, give the books, and a little tidbit if you want of why you love it. We're always curious what you guys are thinking. I think that's all we have here then for this early morning episode. Am I right, Zach?
That's all I've got. It's weird. We came, we prepped, we saw, we conquered, all the things.
Battles conquered, no pun intended.
Sure.
We do have just the teeniest bit of time that we can mention. What are we reading right now? The 2 big things I'm reading are on the screen, right in the center. I've got The Gate of the Pharaoh Gods by Matt Dinniman. That's the 4th book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, which I'm having a heck of a good time with. You were going to be reading that series too.
I'm getting to it soon.
You're going to love it.
Not yet.
Man. You are so going to love it.
Things
and you're planning to do the audiobook.
I am.
And I'm intentionally reading on my Kindle app instead. But everyone's telling me I'm making a mistake. The audiobooks are so good. So I think you're going to really enjoy that.
It's nice to hear I'm right before I've even done it.
And then this is from Stephen Graham Jones, Don't Fear the Reaper. It's book 2 of the Indian Lake trilogy.
Oh, wait. I guess.
It has nothing to do with that. It's really entertaining. It's horror. Again, fantasy, science fiction, and horror. We do cover a little horror on this series, and that one is one of them. What are you reading right now? Currently,
my big reads, obviously, I'm still working my way through Dead House Gates. I can't actually say that because I got another 5% the other day. But then I'm also making good time through The Name of the Wind, finally getting into King Killer Chronicle, and also a good chunk into The Fiery Cross, working my way through the Outlander books.
Okay. How is The Name of the Wind working for you as you continue through?
It's not what I was expecting, but I think I like it better from because what I had described or told to me up into this didn't lead me to think that this was quite what I was going to be reading. I like better this than the
Mhm.
expectation that people had made for me.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't think that's unusual a reaction, actually.
and for me personally, the storyteller and musician background that I have really kind of heightens some of the perspective of this story for me.
Beautiful. Well, all these things we're reading are things you can expect to hear us talk about at some point on the channel. But we got to get back to doing other things so we have more content to give you. We'll stop there. Thanks for watching, everyone. Look down in the show notes for the other ways you can interact with Zach and I. We had another new person join us on Discord today, so they're using that invite link. We welcome you to come hang out with us there. Our social media links are there. Our Patreon. Thank you to every last one of you Patreon supporters. You help us keep this coming out. That's all I got. Any last words, Zach?
Nope.
All right. We'll talk to you next time.